Jeff and I are back out on the water again, and it's a really, really slow day for barra. Jeff and I have been at it for a couple of hours, and it's dead slow. We're getting barra rolling on the lures, but not even touching them. That's how quiet it is. So we're going to show you what we do when the barra's really, really shut down, and you've got to slow down and cast in really deep, and you've got to try to get a few. So today's going to be a real challenge. Sometimes you don't necessarily have to throw your lure really deep into the snag when you've got a fair bit of current rolling like this. We can throw the lure into the current and slowly twitch it out and let the current at the same time draw the lure into the snag. You can see if you can price a barra out of it. Not today. Not that snag anyway. Oh, rolled on it again. Now you know they're not biting when they're just rolling on them, eh? It didn't even touch the hooks. Hey? Oh yeah, nice dog. Got a crossbow on the boat, Jeff's on the snag, pull the barra out of it. And now that it's snagged up on it, I'll throw a lure deep in there and pull the barra out of it. Both sides. Oh yeah. It's been hit by something. Yeah. And on the other side too. This is only second barra for a 3-4 hour session so far of fishing. So Jeff's on a plastic, I'm on a hard body. We got one on the plastic, one on the hard body. And when the barra's shut down like this, you just got to get those casts right deep into those snags because they're not moving out for them. So let this one go while he's still alive. But yeah, we'll keep casting away. But I don't mind fishing when it's tough like this because it's a real challenge and it hones your casting skills in. Because if you're that far out from the snag, the fish ain't coming out to get it. So just got to punch them right in there. Casting the lure in deep will often produce results when nothing else will. But I often use another technique where I downsize and I slow right down. The next two clips show just how this works when nothing else seems to get him to bite. I don't know if the camera's picking up, but there's a big barra just cruising straight over there. Can even look at that now. You can see his tail up and he's just cruising along. Put a little soft plastic in. Can't get these fish to bite today for some reason. Yep, got him. Oh, that's a big barra too. Oh, it took some work, but it took some into biting.
talking and it's swimming into the net, that'd be good. And this way, Ginger. So it's interesting, I've been throwing that Z-Man all day. Can't get a fish on it. But you know what? Put one of these little prawn imitations out, and all of a sudden, yeah, you get yourself a fish like that.
It's a really good lesson. I was throwing this big Z-Man around all day, and I've been throwing it around for about 4 hours. I've had a few fish roll on it. I've caught nothing. I actually saw that fish swimming through the shallows, just this little junction, and I put the Z-Man right in front of him and he didn't even look at it. So I put the little curly tail grub on because this imitates a prawn. And I know that sounds funny because people think that fish's main sense is their eyes, but their eyes isn't their main sense. That's our main sensory organ. We have excellent vision, but fish have really poor vision, but they have a great lateral line. They feel every vibration through the water. They can smell, and they'll pick up that this is in the water before they see it. And because it imitates a little prawn, the way it vibrates and it bounces along the bottom and stuff like that, when they do spot it, they just suck it straight down without thinking about it, because they don't see the detail in it. They just feel the vibration of that little curly tail. They can smell the gulps because they've got a bit of scent in them, and they'll suck them down. And everything eats a prawn. So if they're not biting on the bigger lures, downsize and slow down as well. Fish it really slowly and you'll get result. So downsizing even works when the water's really, really cold. We actually went down and fished the Wenlock River in the freshwater stretches when it was so cold that even the sooty grunter weren't biting. They were just nipping at the tail of the lure. But by remaining slow and small and consistent, we still managed to get some fish.
So downsize your lure and slow your fishing right down. I can't really slow my retreat down too much because if I let this plastic sink through the water, it's going to get caught up on all the timber sitting on the bottom. And I'm slowing it down as much as I can. And I'm down to a little lure. There's a fish under that lure now. And it's not even, oh, grabbed it. It's not even biting. Jeez, it's hard when they're like that. It's hard when they're like that to come out and look at it and don't just nip at it. They're not really interested at all this morning. Oh, just little nips at the tail. It's annoying them more than the fact that they want to eat it. They're just saying, hey, get out of here. Oh, there's another touch. Plenty of fish there. But getting them to hook up, it's been hard. The only fish we caught all morning, these sooties, so they're a bit more aggressive. But the toga and the barra, just not biting.
So downsizing and going small is just all about just changing your lure from something that's a real traditional barra lure, and that's the type of lure I'd use for barramundi in the snakes, no problem at all. It's got a lot of splash, it's got a lot of noise, it's got a lot of bling and stuff like that. And it just works. Barra, especially big barra, just come out and hunt that thing down. They'll hear it splashing through the water. But when it comes down to when they're really quiet and you have to fish a lot slower, we downsize to something like this. This is the Zurich Barra Pro. And look, it's a real shallow dive. It's got a tiny little bib on it. But I can work that up near the surface really, really slowly, and it's not going to sink down and get snagged or anything like that. So that's a really good lure to downsize when you're fishing hard bodies. Now, when I was fishing the soft plastics, I threw this thing, and that's a Z-Man diesel minnow. They reckon it's a 5-inch, and they reckon that's a 4-inch Berkeley grub, a little curly tail grub. Now, I threw this thing for hours, and this is a really successful lure for me, especially when it was high tide like it was that day I was throwing this, because I can skip it right into the snags and slowly roll it out, where this thing will sink quite quickly, and it's hard to fish it slow in the snags. But when I saw that barra ignore that Z-Man, I just knew it would probably take a little tiny prawn. Now,
Prawn lures, I know this is what you're thinking is a prawn lure. And that is a really, really good prawn lure. That's another Zurich lure. It's the live shrimp. It's a fantastic lure. Looks like a prawn and has little legs that sort of work like a prawn. But you know what? And I've got a video. I'll link the video up here. You have to check this video out after that. It's about how fish see lures. They seem completely different to us. Fish actually see that as a prawn. Because that tail wobbles, it creates a vibration, just like a prawn swimming through the water. And a fish will hone in on it because it can't see it, it can only feel it. The biggest sensory organ a fish has is its skin, and its lateral line is part of that skin. It feels every single vibration. It's not until it gets so close to that prawn, or what it thinks is a prawn, and it sees the profile, which looks like a prawn, especially to a fish's blurry eyes, and it smells because it's got some scent on it as well. So a fish is just going to suck it down thinking it's a prawn. So they'll hone in on it thinking it's a prawn, and when they see it, they'll suck it down. I use things like this in super clear water because a fish will actually use its eyesight when the water's really clear a lot more than it uses it when it's dirty. But even in crystal clear water, that lure's a winner. So when the fishing's tough, you still got to cast in really deep when you can, but if you slow down and downsize your lure, you'll do really well.